In the twilight of his existence, Pope Francis captivated the globe with a haunting revelation known that intertwined his fate with the long-hidden secret of Pope Leo XIV, shrouded in mystery for generations. Yet, this tale was not murmured within the hallowed walls of a cathedral, or hidden away in the secretive vaults of Vatican archives. Absolutely not. From the confines of a hospital bed, where breath faltered, emerged a voice still ablaze with an urgent, almost celestial fervor. Indeed, it was more than mere whispers in the wind. It carried a message, a foreboding whisper in the air. In a place far removed from the majestic marble of the Vatican, our tale unfolds in the quaint town of Savannah, Georgia. Here, a humble theologian named Caleb to be known to the world as Francis began to hear the soft murmurs of a shadowy papal figure called Leo XIV. From his early years, Caleb was intimately acquainted with both sorrow and revelation. In a vibrant multi-faith neighborhood, a young boy grew up under the guidance of his Italian father and a Southern-born school-teacher mother. From an early age, he discovered that true power is hollow without a heart, and that some secrets are woven into the fabric of life for a purpose. This tale transcends the mere figure of a pope. It's a tale of awakening a revelation so unsettling, it could rattle the foundations of our understanding of the Church. Before we delve into the revelations of Pope Francis, we must first uncover the true essence of Pope Leo XIV and the reasons behind his near erasure from the annals of history. In the quiet corners of rural Pennsylvania, a young seminarian named Caleb lived a life untouched by the whispers of history. That was until a tempestuous afternoon in 1986, when an elderly priest, Father Elliot, approached him with a time-worn, sealed envelope. With a knowing gaze, he murmured, "You'll need this someday, when the truth no longer hides." Within the confines of the document lay a phrase inscribed in Latin, Gloria Tenebri, the glory of darkness. It was shrouded in mystery, dated 1958, and adorned with the papal seal of Leo XIV, a name that had vanished from every official Vatican record Caleb had ever examined. This pope's very existence stands in stark contrast to all recorded history. Who might he be? What could have led the Church to erase every memory of him? What had prompted Father Elliot to finally present it to Caleb after all these years? With an insatiable curiosity, Caleb plunged into the depths of long-forgotten archives, weaving together names, dates, elusive gatherings, and the silent sorrows of the past. What he discovered sent a shiver down his spine. Leo XIV had purportedly held the papacy for only 27 days in the late 1950s following a conclave steeped in political strife, spiritual turmoil, and whispers of dark forces at play. Whispers from the past hidden within the pages of confidential Jesuit letters told of a shadow pope, chosen in secrecy after the rightful victor fell mysteriously ill. In Caleb's grasp lay a letter, a whisper of a vision that had come to Leo XIV amidst the solemnity of a private mass, a foreboding image of flames consuming Rome, as the very foundations of the Church turned to ash. Yet, what sent a chill down the spine was Leo's last line, etched in quivering ink. Before the final curtain falls, the last genuine shepherd will share his words, yet the flock will remain in disbelief. For years, Caleb held this secret close to his heart. Navigating the intricate pathways of the Church, he ascended through the ranks, first becoming a bishop, then a cardinal, and ultimately against all odds merging as Pope Francis. He had always pondered whether the vision was merely a metaphor, until the 2020s arrived, when the signs began to reveal themselves: global conflict, moral decay, and spiritual disarray resonating with Leo's age-old nightmare. In a moment that would forever alter the course of his journey, Pope Francis found himself wandering through the ancient, crumbling monastery in Brescia, Italia, place where Leo XIV had sought refuge in his time of exile. It was there, beneath the chapel's altar, that he stumbled upon a hidden vault, a discovery poised to dismantle his last defenses against the shadows of secrecy. Within the pages of handwritten journals, each bearing the signature of Leo XIV, lay not just a prophecy but a revelation of the future pope, destined to face the most profound spiritual deception ever known. And that name was none other than his own. And so, the last words were penned. He shall tread the path of humility. He shall don no crown. He will gather with the humble and share tales of compassion. Yet, they will proclaim him to be the trickster. He must share the truth, for if he does not, the church shall descend into silence. At long last, the prophecy had woven itself into a complete tapestry. Calibno, known as Pope Francis, found himself not merely stepping into a role, but shouldering a profound burden, a voice that urged him to unveil the hidden truth before the sands of time slipped away. In the twilight of his existence, as his strength ebbed and his voice grew faint, he summoned the courage to utter the unimaginable. The last pope was never destined to be me. It was always him, the one who lingered in the shadows, weaving through the fabric of every moment, a constant presence in the tapestry of life. Whispers of Pope Francis's waning health had already ignited worldwide worry, but it was the events of his last private mass that reverberated through the Vatican, like a thunderclap. In the shadowy embrace of the chapel of Santa Marta, Caleb, fragile and gasping for breath, summoned only 3 loyal aides to his side, requesting the absence of cameras, press, and formalities, only the sacred words, a hush enveloping the air, and the venerable missive of Leo XIV, its pages unfurled in front of him. Yet, in the midst of the Mass, as he recited the words from the Gospel of Matthew, an unexpected event unfolded. 2 nuns and his personal secretary, Sister Aria, would later recount the moment as unearthly. The lights flickered, casting an eerie glow. The chapel doors creaked with a heavy sigh. And then Francis paused, the words hanging in the air like a whispered secret, the story momentarily suspended in time. His gaze was fixed on an unseen realm, a world that remained hidden from all but him. He has arrived, he murmured softly. In the stillness, a hush envelops the world. Leo, I can see him. All were momentarily paralyzed, caught in the stillness of the moment. Sister Aria sought to bridge the distance, yet Francis lifted a quivering hand, halting her advance. Stay right where you are. Just lend me your ear. As they recounted their experience, the atmosphere became eerily calm, laden with an unseen heaviness. With a palpable effort, Francis started to echo a message, as though he were meticulously inscribing it letter by letter. Convey to them that the darkness was not merely a figure of speech. The illusion breathes with vigor. It dons a visage that inspires confidence. When the voice of truth is hushed, the adversary shall rise from the sacred place. The gathering came to a halt. The aides guided him to a chair. Yet Francis, ghostly and trembling, stood his ground, unwilling to depart. This is the moment Leo beheld. He whispered, gripping the aged parchment tightly. He sought to caution them, yet they laid him to rest. They shall not lay me to rest. In a matter of moments, the vigilant guardians of the Vatican were summoned, not due to a health concern but because the Pope, in a remarkable turn of events, sought to deliver a live address to the Church, sidestepping the usual Curia protocols. He insisted that the broadcast be unfiltered, spontaneous, and free from any restraints. The cardinals stood their ground. What message do you wish to convey? Holiness, they inquired. Francis replied with a straightforward remark. The truth is a tale waiting to be told, even if it leads to my demise. Yet, as the plans began to unfold, an even stranger event took place. In a twist of fate, the encrypted vault that held the complete journals of Leo XIV, now nestled within the papal residence, lay bare and emptied. There were no indications of any unauthorized access. all locks intact, simply vanished. And then, like a whisper carried on the wind, the message arrived. A delicate note, penned by an unknown hand, found its way beneath the chapel door, its elegant script flowing in Latin. Hush now, or the shepherds shall tumble. Pope Francis, now seated in his wheelchair, gazed intently at the note for what felt like an eternity. Silence enveloped the moment, his lips sealed tight, leaving the air thick with unspoken words. Yet, for the first time in years, Sister Aria witnessed the glimmer of tears welling up in his eyes, not from a place of fear but from the depths of sorrow. As the night deepened, he summoned the quiet solitude of a private recording of Last Testament, destined to be unveiled only after he had departed from this world. With a voice that carried the weight of conviction, he spoke softly. I did not hold the last word. I was the whisper that lingered in the air. The message was meant for someone else, Leo. Yet, they made him vanish. They trembled at the visions he beheld. At last, the moment has arrived. Should your eyes fall upon this, let not the tremors instill fear within you. Only that which is untrue can be shattered. What is genuine will endure. With a final gaze into the camera, he proclaimed, he spoke the truth. And now, I too have joined the ranks. In the hushed moments that ensued after his clandestine recording, Pope Francis, formerly known as Caleb, had transformed into someone entirely different. The ones who held him dear witnessed it unfold. The burden he had borne for years had changed form, not disappeared, but evolved into something new. Though his shoulders remained slumped and his body bore the weight of exhaustion, a fierce fire flickered in his eyes. And it wasn't the blaze of rebellion. It was the blaze of understanding. Throughout his life, Caleb navigated the delicate balance of adhering to the teachings of the Church, while also heeding the gentle whispers of the Spirit within him. Yet, in the shadow of Leo XIV's vanished journals, amidst the whispered threats and the chilling note that had found its way beneath his door, a revelation dawned upon him. The Church was not merely besieged from without, the tempest brewed from within. That moment dismantled all his previous beliefs about what it meant to lead. The quiet, cautious diplomat had vanished into the shadows of the past. From the shadows stepped a man prepared to gamble it all, not for fame, not for dominion, but for the essence of truth itself. And with that shift came a chilling realization. If Leo XIV had been silenced for his words, could he deface the same grim destiny? The notion no longer held any terror for him. I do not seek to be etched in memory, he confided to Sister Aria. My purpose lies in being steadfast. On that fateful night, he made a singular request. A humble crucifix be placed by his bedside, death very one he had cherished during his days as a young priest, offering solace to those in hospice care. Cradling it in his hands, he murmured a silent prayer, one that eluded the grasp of microphones and the watchful eyes of aides. Yet, Sister Aria later recounted the whispers she had caught in the air. My lord, a throne was never my desire, just your voice. Let them cast aside the memory of my name. Simply ensure they remember yours. And then, as if guided by an unseen hand, Francis arrived at a momentous choice to unveil a fragment of Leo's prophecy to the world. He forged ahead without seeking the Vatican's blessing. He crafted a lettering by hand, untouched by revision, sealed with his papal insignia, yet concluding with a single, powerful line. I do not address you as a figure of authority, but as a humble individual standing before his Maker. Within that letter, dispatched to devoted pastors and lay leaders spanning 5 continents, he unveiled a poignant quote from the elusive vision of Leo XIV. The altar will gleam, yet the illumination will be deceptive. A message of solace shall be shared, yet the cross will remain unspoken. A multitude shall tread its path, only a select few will bear witness. Yet, the shepherd shall utter his words before the tempest arrives. As dawn broke, the letter had found its way into the hearts and minds of many. translated into 12 languages and whispered across the vast expanse of the internet. The Vatican made attempts to hold it back, but the truth had already woven its way through the fabric of society. Across the globe, the faithful responded with a mix of wonder, trepidation, and uncertainty. Some referred to it as the last beckoning for redemption. Some brushed it off as mere conspiracy. Yet, a singular truth emerged from the shadows. The man who had once been called Caleb was no longer the same. He had reached a point where the opinions of others held no sway over him. He simply found solace in the fact that someone, somewhere, cared. As the leaked letter traveled across the globe, an extraordinary chain of events began to unfold. Not in the eternal city, not in the hallowed halls of cardinals or under the bright lights of press conferences, but in the warmth of living rooms, the quiet of underground churches, and the intimacy of back-alley prayer circles from Manila to Milwaukee. As the dawn broke, a gentle stir began to ripple through the world, as if the very essence of life was beckoning everyone to rise from their slumber. They found themselves grappling with the enigma that was Leo XIV. Scholars and theologians, they were not. Yet, the voice within that letter, the unfiltered urgency, the striking truth echoed deeply. They recognized the art of trickery when it crossed their path, and they felt a change in the air. And so, as the Vatican sought to soften the impact of the message, a quiet yet powerful force began to rise from the ground, a movement, guided not by the high and mighty but by everyday souls ignited with passion. They named it the Echo. It all began in a quaint church nestled in Birmingham, Alabama, where the full letter found its way onto their bulletin, capturing the hearts of the congregation. In the stillness of the night, a house church and soul gathered, their voices rising in unison as they read it aloud during their midnight worship. In the hush of the moment, believers from every corner of the globe came together, their thoughts not on Francis, but on the true shepherd that the letter illuminated. In that moment, Pope Francis recognized a pivotal opportunity unfolding before him. Though he found himself within the sterile confines of a hospital room, his mind danced with clarity, and his spirit stood unwavering against the tides of circumstance. He summoned a private meeting not with the Curia, nor with politicians, but with a young theology student from Brazil named Mateo, whose blog post on Leo's prophecy had captured the attention of many. The security advisors chuckled dismissively. "Oh, what could this young lad possibly bring to you?" With the gentle curve of his lips, Francis beamed with warmth. "Perhaps it's simply the bravery I've overlooked." As Mateo stepped into the room, his hands shaking and uncertainty clouding his mind, Francis welcomed him not with the authority of a pontiff, but with the warm embrace of a grandfather. They lingered in each other's presence for hours, devoid of cameras and interpreters, lost in the depths of their unspoken connection. What started as inquiries blossomed into heartfelt revelations, and by the conclusion, both found themselves in tears. "You're not crazy," Mateo said, his voice trembling with emotion. Francis let out a gentle laugh, but soon his expression shifted to one of gravity. "No, just the alert." The Pope presented Mateo with a small wooden box, the last vestige linked to Leo XIV. Within it lay a folded parchment, weathered by the years, its ink faded yet still readable. In moments of silence from the church, the very stones shall rise to voice their truths. As the shepherds tire, the lambs shall take their stand. What is lost to man shall be unveiled by the divine. Francis met his gaze with unwavering intensity. "You are a gentle soul, Mateo. Now, more than ever, the world is eager to listen to your voice." On the following day, Mateo's video testimony was unveiled to the world. Unfiltered, heartfelt, brimming with quivering expressions and unwavering belief, he unveiled the artifact, listened to the words of Leo, and concluded with a heartfelt request. Take action without waiting for the hierarchy. We are a community of faith, and truth remained significant. In just 72 hours, the video captivated over 12 million viewers. In a twist of fate, the very news outlets that had previously brushed aside Francis's dire warnings found themselves captivated by the unfolding narrative. As the pages of history turn, scholars step forth, shedding light on the shadows of past conclave irregularities. A long-buried photograph of Leo XIV has emerged once more. All was in a state of transformation, and in that powerful surge of realization, Pope Francis, still resting in his hospital bed, smiled through his tears, not due to the validation of his correctness. Yet, at last, the truth had broken its chains and soared into the light. In the twilight of his life, Pope Francis, once known as Caleb, had shed the skin of a hesitant reformer, no longer bound by the chains of politics and protocol. He had transformed into something extraordinary, a man who knew no fear, except for the haunting stillness that accompanied the unvarnished truth. For years, he had navigated the intricate dance of Vatican diplomacy, treading lightly through carefully crafted encyclicals and meticulously rehearsed speeches. Yet now, devoid of titles and liberated from the burdens of survival, Caleb had transformed into something formidable, raw, and unrefined. And in an unexpected twist, it enveloped him in tranquility. Even as his body grew frail and the sands of time slipped away, he chose to fill his last moments not with solitude, but with a passionate purpose. He crafted letters, placed unexpected calls, softly spoken regrets, made amends with former adversaries. He requested that no tribute be raised in his honor. "I have no desire for my visage to be immortalized in stone," he confided to Sister Aria. "May my silence resonate more profoundly than any monument." Yet, it was more than mere humility, it was a profound sense of freedom. He embarked on a journey through the pages of his past, revisiting old journal entries, once hidden beneath the weight of papal duty. Memories resurfaced, the fervent days of street evangelism as a young priest, reaching out to addicts during Argentina's bleakest times, and the quiet moments of holding the hands of the dying, far from the gaze of any camera. In those fleeting instances, he came to understand that they held a sanctity far greater than any regal seat he had ever occupied. For the first time in decades, Caleb perceived his papacy not as a crown, but as a burden to bear, and bearing it had transformed him. He immersed himself once more in the final entry of Leo XIV. Now etched in his mind, the genuine guide will not pursue the spotlight. In the quiet embrace of darkness, he will find his place upon his knees. He shall bleed in silence, unnoticed by the world around him, yet the heavens shall remember his name. Those words failed to shatter Caleb's spirit. They brought him back to life. He reflected on years of compromise, not with resentment, but with a clear-eyed truth. There were moments when he sidestepped conflict, trembled at the thought of change, and retreated from difficult realities, all in an effort to safeguard the church's reputation. Yet here, at the brink of forever, he found himself unafraid of the consequences that lay ahead, merely a fabrication. Growth doesn't come from praise, he shared with Matteo during their follow-up call. In the moments of fracture, you find your strength and you embrace honesty regardless. It wasn't a grand gesture that marked his transformation, it was the subtle moments. A call from a bishop, once cast out, echoes through time, carrying the weight of forgiveness and its simple message, "I forgive you." In the shadows, a compassionate heart is quietly nurturing a haven for trafficked women in Naples. He reached out to a journalist he had once dismissed, seeking an interview not in the capacity of a pope, but as a frail man facing the end, stripped of all defenses. These moments went unnoticed by the world. Yet, the heavens did. In those last moments, as the echo movement flourished and souls across the globe started to awaken to profound truths, Caleb found solace in the thought that his name mattered less than the legacy of awakening he had helped inspire. He could only wish that Leo's would be. With a gentle smile, he responded to the question of regrets. If only I had found my voice earlier. Yet, here I stand, having arrived at this moment, and that is sufficient. He embarked on this journey, his heart heavy with the fear of being laid bare. He concluded his journey laid bare, fearless, and at last complete. As dawn broke on a serene Sunday, the world awoke to a revelation that stirred both dread and anticipation. Pope Francis departed this world quietly, embraced by the stillness of slumber. Yet, this was not just a simple farewell. In a matter of moments, heartfelt tributes began to flow not from powerful leaders or official representatives, but from everyday believers whose lives had been touched, stirred, or irrevocably transformed by the courageous soul who chose to speak out. Across the globe, hashtags such as Thecho, Lexiv lives, and Hespoke Force captured the attention of many, trending in unison. Yet, the most significant moment unfolded hours later, as Vatican security, after much resistance, had no choice but to unveil what they had long sought to keep hidden: the final video message of Caleb, the enigmatic figure cloaked in mystery. No fanfare, no Latin, in a shadowy chamber, a humble wooden cross stood sentinel behind him, while his gravelly voice resonated with unwavering belief. If you find yourself in this moment, he began, then my voice has faded away, but the essence of truth remains eternal. Today, I do not address you as a pope. I share my thoughts as one who has stumbled, lingered in fear, and cherished this church with a devotion deeper than life itself. Once upon a time, there was a man named Leo XIV. They sought to wipe him from existence, and in their attempt, they nearly wiped us away as well. Yet, the divine memory remains unyielding. He drew closer, his presence enveloping the moment. Your purpose does not lie in seeking comfort. A summons to bravery awaits you, to rise up, to share a tale, to behold the fissures in the altar and not flee, but to mend. His eyes brimmed with tears, yet his voice remained steadfast. It is said that the popes don white robes, a symbol meant to mirror the heavens above. I urge you allow your existence to mirror the one who sacrificed. And then, with a breath that held the essence of countless tales, he whispered, "Do not tread in my footsteps. Pursue the truth." As the final scene drew to a close, the screen slipped into darkness. There is no conclusion to this tale. Silence reigns, only the hush of stillness. In the stillness, a wondrous transformation unfolded. The echo movement burst forth with vibrant energy. The doors of the churches swung open once more, welcoming the outcast back into their embrace. Under the cloak of night, devoted followers gathered to delve into the profound teachings of Leo XIV. In a world where young hearts had grown weary of the confines of religion, they discovered a profound resonance not in authority, but in the beauty of redemption born from brokenness. Within the sacred walls of the Vatican, a shift in hearts began to unfold. A new generation of priests, once hushed for their inquiries, now found their voices, emboldened by the echoes of Francis's last words. Yet, it was not the institutions that underwent the greatest transformation. It was the souls that shaped the tale. In the bustling heart of Mumbai, a mother unfolded the letter, her voice steady as she read it aloud to her son, weaving the words into a moment they would both cherish. In the vibrant streets of Madrid, a taxi driver decided to share a piece of art with his passengers, playing Mateo's video for all to see. A person who once identified as an atheist in Berlin shared, for the first time, faith feels real. In the quiet corners of homes and the humble walls of huts, within the sacred spaces of churches and the stark confines of prisons, the world paused to reflect. It became clear that the divine voice does not solely echo from lofty pulpits. Rather, it resonates through the heartfelt struggles of those brave enough to share their truths, even at the highest price. As the bells of Rome rang out for the final time in honor of Pope Francis, the world found itself not merely grieving a man. They stirred to the tale he endeavored to convey. He was never the last chapter in the tale. Yet, he ensured that the echoes of his words reached our ears. In the tale of Pope Francisco, the individual beyond the titlu discover a profound lesson. Truth may not always come at the right time, yet it remains a treasure of utmost importance. For years, he bore the burden of a concealed caution, not out of dread for death, but from a deep-seated fear of separation. And so, when the moment arrived, he embraced truth instead of seeking refuge and safety. He relinquished the dream of legacy to safeguard something far more profound, the essence of the Church. In a realm where whispers were treasured, Caleb found the courage to raise his voice. He revealed to us that true leadership transcends the mere act of wielding power. It lies in the art of letting it go. True holiness is not without its scars, it bears the marks of struggle. True courage whispers rather than shouts. It remains unwavering. In his last moments, he never beckoned us to walk in his footsteps. He beckoned us to pursue the truth of an if it takes us to realms where few have the courage to tread. For ultimately, the essence of truth transcends mere concepts. It is an individual, and he continues to share his voice. One need not don robes to embody truth. One does not require a grand stage to share the essence of existence. What Caleb accomplished at the Vatican is something you can replicate in your own home, your city, your community. Share your voice in moments of discomfort. Rise even when the price is high. Become the one who hears the unspoken words hidden in the quiet moments of others. Begin with the basics. Invite your loved ones to come together and share in the reading of Scripture. Gather for an evening of exploration into the intricacies of spiritual deception. Unveil tales that illuminate Christ, rather than mere doctrine. Extend your hand to those who dwell in solitude. Stand up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Embrace a life of honesty and honor. And when fear softly urges, stay silent. Hold close Caleb's last words. Do not tread in my footsteps. Pursue the truth, for the world craves clarity over chaos. Your voice is essential.